one U.S. interim attorney had to give away in the Eastern District of Virginia. He gave it to Eric Sieber. He had no hat to give to Halligan, so she was never legally on the job. Judge Curry laughed at Bondi's attempt to retroactively jam a Section 515 hat on Halligan's head, since the government has identified no authority allowing the Attorney General to reach back in time and rewrite the terms of a past appointment. And the court said that the attempt to ratify the indictment post facto was DOA as well. Otherwise, the government could send any private citizen off the street, attorney or not, into the grand jury room to secure an indictment so long as the Attorney General gives her approval after the fact. That cannot be the law. Judge Curry ruled that all actions flowing from Ms. Halligan's defective appointment, including securing Comey's indictment, constitute unlawful exercise of executive power and must be set aside. And since no legally serving lawyer participated in that grand jury process, the indictments were dismissed.
I like to change the order of those fucking things.
Didn't get everything they wanted.
Just move up button.
Curry to dismiss their cases with prejudice. Cases dismissed with prejudice cannot be refiled. Comey and James said that Halligan's misconduct was so apparent that the court shouldn't let the government do it again. And here, Judge Curry said no, sent a case to the grand jury. Bondi said a magic spell on Halloween and made it all okay. We are living in some very weird times, and so now is probably a good moment to wipe away all your personal over-free suppression lists. And Incognito will continue if online privacy is important and your unlimited plan, or trying Incognito didn't describe them as hats. And they pointed to all the other judges in New Jersey, Nevada, and California who disqualified Trump's U.S. attorneys when they stayed on after their interim appointments expired. The Comey and James motions to dismiss were signed to Judge Cameron McGowan Curry, a senior judge from South Carolina. One of the first things that Judge Curry did was to ask for the grand jury transcript to determine the extent of the indictment signer's involvement in the grand jury proceeding. The indictment signer would be Lindsay.
85. Always 85. Holds at 85.
Judge Curry had already determined that Halligan was unqualified and was trying to see if
15 degrees from shutdown.
lawfully appointed prosecutor might save those indictments.
Auto
No
shutdown.
other lawyer at EDVA would get anywhere near these garbage cases. Halligan was the only person who presented the charges to the grand jury, and she was the only one who signed the indictments. And she did all wearing one defective Section 546 hat. On November 25th, Judge Curry dismissed the charges against Comey and James. She said that Section 546 is unambiguous. A person appointed as United States Attorney may serve until the expiration of 120 days after the appointment by the Attorney General. Subsection D provides a single option for how subsequent interim appointments may be made. If an appointment expires under subsection C2, the district court and only the district court may appoint a United States Attorney to serve until the vacancy is filled. Translation, Trump had one U.S. interim attorney had to give away in the Eastern District of Virginia, and he gave it to Eric Sieber. He had no hat to give to Halligan, so she was never legally on the job. Judge Curry laughed at Bondi's attempt to retroactively jam a Section 515 hat on Halligan's head, since the government has identified no authority allowing the Attorney General to reach back in time and rewrite the terms of a past appointment. And the court said that the attempt to ratify the indictment post facto was DOA as well. Otherwise, the government could send any private citizen off the street, attorney or not, into the grand jury room to secure an indictment so long as the Attorney General gives her approval after the fact. That cannot be the law. Judge Curry ruled that all actions flowing from Ms. Halligan's defective appointment, including securing and signing Mr. Comey's indictment, constitute unlawful exercises of executive power and must be set aside. And since no legally serving lawyer participated in that grand jury process, the indictments were dismissed. But Comey and James didn't get everything they wanted. They both asked Judge Curry to dismiss their cases with prejudice. Cases dismissed with prejudice cannot be refiled. Comey and James said that Halligan's misconduct was so apparent that the court shouldn't let the government do it again. And here, Judge Curry said no. She dismissed both cases without prejudice, leaving the government free to go get another grand jury and re-indict Comey and James. Now, in a normal world, the DOJ would just shrug their shoulders and get back in front of another grand jury next week. It's actually kind of a gift. All those embarrassing screw-ups Halligan made before the grand jury get wiped away, and the DOJ gets to take a mulligan. This time, Bondi might even remember to give Halligan all the hats. But we are not in a normal world. Bondi is at war with the judiciary over the legality of those U.S. attorney appointments, and the DOJ has appeals pending at the 9th and 3rd Circuits. Plus, they're fighting off a motion in the Northern District of New York over the 3 hat appointments of a U.S. attorney named John Sarconi. Funny enough, that's a Tish James case too, since Sarconi is using his office to subpoena the state AG for documents from Trump's civil fraud prosecution. The point is that Bondi has to defend the 3 hat dance in Virginia, because if she concedes the point with respect to Halligan, it's going to totally undercut her cases everywhere else. So she's boxed in. She has no choice but to appeal the Comey and James losses instead of doing the logical thing and just getting in front of a different grand jury and indicting them again tomorrow. So, now what? Well, the dismissal order wipes out all the pending motions, which is a huge bummer for me and Adam Bauer, because the magistrate judge said that in her grand jury presentation, Halligan made basic errors of law that would make a first-year law student die of embarrassment, and I was looking forward to seeing all that stuff come out. Instead, the government will appeal to the 4th Circuit, after which it will almost certainly head to the Supreme Court. I assume that the justices will agree to hear the case and will combine it with all the other disqualification cases, because that's the same issue. The Supreme Court will ultimately decide if Section 546 allows the president to hand out one 120-day interim appointment hat, or if he can keep naming a new person every 4 months. And obviously, it's a binary, right? Either the Supreme Court will say that the trial court judges were all wrong and the president can indeed make successive interim U.S. attorney appointments, or the justices will say that the trial courts got it right and Halligan and the rest of the 3 hatters were never legally appointed. So, okay, say the Supreme Court overturns Judge Curry and says Halligan's appointment was legal. The win for the government is that the Comey and James cases come roaring back to life, warts and all, which is great for me, because then I'll get to see what kind of crazy stuff is in those grand jury transcripts. But it's kind of a monkey's paw for the government, because they'll be stuck with those weak, defective cases put together by a prosecutor who didn't know what she was doing. But okay, say it goes the other way, and the Supreme Court agrees with the trial judges that none of these U.S. attorneys were legally appointed. And then the DOJ can go back and seek new indictments. Maybe. Well, they can definitely do it with Tish James' indictment, because she's charged with committing mortgage fraud in 2020, and that's got a 10-year statute of limitations, so no problem there. Whether they can indict Comey again is an open question. The reason that Halligan was such a hot hurry to indict Comey on September 25th was that the statute of limitations was about to expire on September 30th. That's why Trump pushed Siebert out, because that window to indict Comey was going to close. And okay, obviously we're now long past that date. But under 18 U.S.C. Section 3288, the government might still be able to recharge him. That law says whenever an indictment is dismissed for any reason after the statute of limitations has expired, a new indictment may be returned within 6 calendar months of the date of the dismissal, or in the event of an appeal, within 60 days of the date the dismissal of the indictment becomes final. So, the Justice Department's going to argue that this law gives them another crack at Comey whenever the appeal gets resolved. That's one of the reasons Comey's lawyers pushed so hard for Judge Curry to dismiss the case with prejudice. They argued that it would be manifestly unfair to allow the DOJ to use this patently illegal prosecution as a means to basically buy an extra 6 months on the statute of limitations. But judges are by their nature pretty cautious, and so Judge Curry dismissed without prejudice anyway, and now we're in a weird place. The question is basically, should the courts treat this dismissal like a normal dismissal, which would trigger this extension under 3288, or was this indictment void from the jump, and so it can't be the basis for an extension of the statute of limitations because it never existed? Obviously, the DOJ will say, hell yes, we get the 6 months to indict, and Comey will say, hell no, because the indictment didn't exist, since Halligan had no authority to even walk into the grand jury room, so it can't be a vehicle to extend the statute of limitations. Which does sound pretty logical, but that's going to be a question for the 4th Circuit and probably the Supreme Court. Now, that assumes that someone could or would go back and try to indict Comey again. This case is exceptionally flimsy, and the magistrate judge strongly implied that Halligan was only able to get the jurors to return an indictment by playing fast and loose with the facts and the law. That caused mean lawyers on the internet, like me, to use words like attorney grievance commission and disbarment and ethical shit show debacle. There is no guarantee that this indictment could be replicated if the government got another chance to take a crack at it. So, it ain't over till it's over. But for the moment, it's over for Comey and James. Lindsay Halligan can go back to the White House for her important project of de-wokifying the Smithsonian. Which is probably for the best, because it seems like this prosecutor thing wasn't really working out for her anyway.
Now, all this highlights why it's so important to get a great lawyer when you're dealing with your own case. Now, after I started this channel, every week I get hundreds of comments and emails from viewers who are dealing with legal problems. And they'd ask, can you help me find a lawyer? Or how do I know if this attorney is any good? And there's a massive gap in our justice system. Is that people don't know how to find the right...
The hyperactive alien YouTuber with Tourette syndrome. It's so nice to meet you here on my spaceship, and I would love to see you on my stream sometime. I stream 3 to 4 times a week on my YouTube channel, where you can see all of my unhinged moments live, because everyone loves to watch the live tentacle hentai girl. Come on, come join us with the coming immunity. I'm Cindy, the hyperactive alien YouTuber with Tourette syndrome. It's so nice to meet you here on my spaceship, and I would love to see you on my stream sometime. I stream 3 to 4 times a week on my YouTube channel, where you can see all of my unhinged moments live, because everyone loves to watch the live tentacle hentai girl. Come on, come join us with the coming immunity. I'm Cindy, the hyperactive alien...
Meow. Meow.
Hey, rawdogging. Hey, rawdogging.
Oh my god!
It's simple. We use data rails. It makes the entire process.
Did you go to college? Okay. Seems like a lot of smart people went there. Dude, what did you study at the University of Delaware? Okay. You're gonna throw that in everyone's face? Alright. Are you with your girlfriend? I didn't know you could call it that, dude. Are you a lawyer too? Okay. Alright. What kind of law? I think you're gonna have some business over.
Onslets of power. 5 minutes for an artifact.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure thing.
How much do you spend on groceries per week?
$150, $200 probably, 150.
At least 175.
Maybe around 100 to 150. 200, I think.
Like 350.
350. Do you cook your meal?
I try to whenever I can, but it's hard. I work 9 to 6. Tough to find the time.
You enjoy cooking?
we need to talk about how garbage Microsoft's official gaming handheld can be. I picked up the Xbox RG Ally Non-X to do some testing for a review, and the initial out-of-the-box experience was so bad that I'm actually shocked they could screw it up this much. We can ignore the keyboard not working during the initial setup and forcing